Today is March the 31st, 2024, and this episode is one in a four-part series focused on some key revelations in the book of Jonah and Joel that point to the upcoming eclipse. The messages in this series are crucial for all Yah-only Israelites and those Hebrew Israelites whom Yah is calling to join his remnant. This video is being produced as a Yah-ordained partnership between two channels, Yahuwah Lives and Melissa Yisrael. The inspiration for this teaching came after Melissa saw the path of the eclipse going through multiple cities called Nineveh, and Yah began to reveal to us a hidden meaning in the book of Jonah and the book of Joel. As we count down to the eclipse on April the 8th, Yah has directed us to teach the children of Israel how the story of Jonah outlines the journey from Israel's rebellion to our awakening to our identity, to becoming Yah only, and most importantly, it shows us what is required of us Yah only Israelites during the eclipse. Today's video focuses on Jonah chapter 1. Let's follow along with Melissa as she reads, and afterwards we'll dive in and see whether we can see ourselves in this chapter.
Jonah chapter 1, verses 1 through 17. And the word of Yah came to Jonah, son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, the great city, and cry out against it, for their evils have come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee to Tarshish from the presence of Yah, and went down to Joppa, and found a ship going to Tarshish. And he paid the fare, and went down into it to go with them to Tarshish from the presence of Yah. And Yah sent out a great wind on the sea, and there was a great storm on the sea, so that the ship was thought to be broken up. And the seamen were afraid, and each one cried out to his mighty one, and threw the cargo which was in the ship into the sea, to lighten the load. But Jonah had gone down into the lowest parts of the ship, and he lay down and was fast asleep. And the captain came to him and said to him, What do you mean, sleeper? Arise, cry out to your Elohim, if so be that Elohim shall think about us, so that we do not perish. And they said to each other, Come, and let us cast lots, so that we know for whose sake this evil has come upon us. So they cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. So they said to him, Please explain to us, for whose sake is this evil upon us? What is your occupation, and where do you come from? What is your country, and from what people are you? And he said to them, I am a Hebrew, and I am fearing Yah, the Elohim of the heavens, who made the sea and the dry land. And the men were exceedingly afraid, and said to him, Why have you done this? For the men knew that he fled from the presence of Yah, for he had informed them. And they said to him, What are we to do to you to make the sea calm for us? For the sea was growing more stormy. And he said to them, Take me and throw me into the sea, so that the sea becomes calm for you. For I know that this great storm is because of me. However, the men rowed hard to bring the ship to land, but were unable, for the sea continued to grow more stormy against them. And they cried out to Yah and said, We pray, O Yah, please, let us not perish for this man's life, and do not lay on us innocent blood, for you, O Yah, have done as it pleased you. Then they took Jonah and threw him into the sea, and the sea stopped raging. And the men feared Yah exceedingly, and slaughtered a slaughtering to Yah, and made vows. But Yah appointed a great fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was in the stomach of the fish 3 days and 3 nights.
On this chapter, there are 4 places where the children of Israel can see themselves. Joppa represents the place of our rebellion. The ship represents our travel toward idolatry. Being thrown overboard represents our awakening and partial separation from paganism. And the fish represents our continued reliance on the idol of Christianity. So let's uncover these one by one. Joppa is a seaport where ships come in to bring wood for the house of Yah. Its name means beautiful, But instead of arriving to be of service to Yah, Jonah is using Joppa as a place of departure. He is fleeing from the face of Yah, and he's heading to a place called Tarshish, which means a gold-colored stone. And as we insert the house of Israel into the story, this gold-colored stone called Tarshish symbolizes idolatry. Jonah's presence in Joppa symbolizes the rebellion of the children of Israel. The Most High told us to have no other gods before him, and he specifically told us not to make gods of gold. But we refused to listen and would not forsake the idols of Egypt, even after Yah brought us out of the house of bondage. It was not long before we made a golden calf and called it a god. Jonah paid the fare and went down into the ship. Now, the fare that Jonah paid symbolizes the price that we pay when we rebel against Yah. Because of our rebellion, the Most High scattered us by ships to the four winds, where we would worship gods of wood and stone that our fathers did not know. And so in this story, we see a great wind is sent after the ship of Jonah, a wind so strong that it almost destroyed it, just like our 400-year captivity almost destroyed us. The second place where the children of Israel can see themselves is the bottom of the ship. Jonah, sleeping in the bottom of the ship, symbolizes the time of our captivity. We have not yet awakened to our identity at this point. We are asleep. Deuteronomy 30, verse 1 has not yet occurred, and we have not yet called the curses to mind and realized who we are. But then something very interesting happens. The shipmaster comes to wake Jonah and tells him to arise and call on his God so that they won't perish. And this symbolizes those people who are working to awaken the biblical Israelites to their true identity. And so often we are awakened by someone who is still partly pagan in that they still haven't released their idols, but they know just enough to wake us up. Notice how the people begin to ask Jonah who he is, where did he come from, what's his occupation, what's his country, and who are his people. And Jonah answers, I am a Hebrew, and I fear Yah, the God of heaven, which made the sea and the dry land. This is what happened to us. We are awake to who we are, but we are still on a ship full of pagans heading to Tarshish, which represents a gold-colored stone, which represents idolatry. We might adopt a Hebrew name and speak some Hebrew words and pray towards the east and wear different clothes and grow beards and keep the Sabbath, but we haven't let the idol go. We just changed the color of his skin, and since our slave masters have put some of Yah's words in the idol's mouth, we trust him and we depend on this idol to save us. Now, the people on the ship had already cried to their gods, and they had already thrown everything possible off of the ship. So they cast lots and discover that Jonah is the problem. And as we become awakened to our Israelite identity, we know we need to be separated from the pagans. And we believe that if we separate, then Yah won't be angry with us anymore. We think it's an easy fix, but it's not. Because even when biblical Israelites leave the outward appearance of serving idols, the ideas of idolatry remain within them. And this includes the false idea that the salvation of many lies in the work of one man. And this is symbolized by Jonah offering to become a sacrifice for the people on the ship. For us newly awakened Israelites, the idea of salvation through the idol follows us after we separate from the pagans. And that explains what happens next. So Jonah is thrown in the water, and Yah prepares a fish to swallow him up. Now the fish represents Christianity, and this is where biblical Israelites get stuck. There is no exiting the fish. Yah has control of if and when the fish spits us out, and we become truly Yah only. The fish is a time of testing. When we enter the fish, we still believe that the idol is the key to our salvation, and we are still clinging to the New Testament that we got from our slave masters. In the next video, we will look at what happens to the Hebrew Israelites in the belly of that fish and what they need to do in order to be released. So stay tuned for part 2.